Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Chatsu Cafe. My name's Satsunami and joining me, totally not for the second time because I will be editing this bit out, is none other than the one and only, as I said, PNG slash Zelda fan. It is Andrew, aka Greenshield, aka Zelda fan. 1, 2, 3. How are you doing?
Not all those were true, so that's only a half truth.
Hey, that's a half truth. Simpsons references. And just as we have opened the cafe doors, we have a load of other fellow patrons that have come through the door. We have Robotic Battle Toaster bringing his friends. We've got Moon Eye Plays. We've got Spanks, of course. You know, friend of the podcast. We've got High Score, High Stakes. This rig is top tier. Thank you. This cafe is relatively new. We've only used it once with the one and only Martin McAllister. I was actually telling you this the other day, I think, that whenever I'm introducing other people on the podcast, you know, I'll say, oh, it's Andrew, it's Adam. And it's like, oh, it's Martin McAllister. Like he is some kind of, like Smash Bros character.
Well, he's a bit like, he's like Dwayne The Rock Johnson. You have to say the whole thing. Like you can't just say Dwayne. Like how weird would that be? Mr. Johnson? Mr. McAllister?
I'm a huge fan.
But like I did have a bit of a rebrand a couple of years ago. That's the douchiest thing I think I've ever said. A
rebrand.
Because I was Green Shield 95 when we first started, and then I kind of decided going into like what we were doing with podcasts that I'd rather people just knew my name, because I think that's kind of sometimes better to kind of just get your name out there. Not that I necessarily am trying to like get big, get famous kind of thing, but I just felt from a marketing perspective and a just general kind of like people knowing who I am, because I'm quite comfortable with that. I know a lot of people don't want that, and that's perfectly fine. But like I was quite keen to transition from Martin McAllister.
The truth comes out
from Green Shield 95 to Andrew, and like Green Shield itself was just like a in joke from my school. It's like a play on my actual surname. Whereas I felt like it just felt a bit more personal to go with Andrew.
Yeah, because I remember when I first heard that, and I don't know why, because I know you're a big Zelda fan, so I immediately thought, oh, Green Shield, Zelda Shield. Fun fact, guys, Zelda Shield is blue. Well, sorry, Link Shield.
I was about to pull you up on that. I was like, are you really doing this right now?
Yeah. Are we doing It's like,
are we getting into this now?
Are we getting into it?
Are we going to have our first on-air argument?
Please, Robotic Battle Toasters just rolled up. We can't fight in
Don't
front
embarrass
of
me in front of my friends.
Look at all these patrons here. They're all like, you know, when you go into the... Well, I'm saying this as if I have any experience, but you know when characters go into the Wild West saloon and everyone just puts down their glasses and just looks like, Yeah, it's like that. Everybody looking at us going, oh, when are they going to stop fighting? Never. Oh, but
we're doing it for the content, guys. It's all fake. It's everything so manufactured and fake.
Unlike wrestling, which is 100% true. That was something that Martin McAllister told me to put in the script. Oh,
I see. Fair. Okay.
I'm gonna get an angry message.
Is that something we can do? Can I just like slide things into future episodes that you have to say?
I mean, within reason, yes.
Oh, okay. I'll work on it. I'll do some pitches.
Yeah, we'll be back in a couple of hours for like Chatsu Cafe After Dark, you know.
Ooh.
For our spicy takes.
Yeah, things get interesting, guys.
Yeah, well, true. If I didn't tell myself that, I'm like, please, everybody, come back. Come back.
Everyone listening is like, they're not used to hearing what's essentially kind of the behind the scenes of us just kind of talking nonsense, which you often will edit out. So it's it's now just me just doing terrible jokes. Sometimes we include it on the Patreon as like little like bloopers and stuff. So a little bit of a behind the scenes kind of look into how much nonsense we talk usually. Only at least 75% of that actually makes it to the show.
I mean, that is true.
Still mostly nonsense.
No. Because, I mean, as of recording this episode in particular, we are just wrapping up Animation Month, which has been absolutely fantastic. I'm not going to lie. It has been such a whirlwind of going through different topics. Like Martin and I, we went through Wallace and Gromit, and what was the first episode we did? Puss in Boots of the Last Wish. That was the one. And with yourself, of course, we did Detective Pikachu this Friday, although when this episode comes out in audio-only format, or when you're rewatching this, the episode for Your Name comes out. I said it in that episode, and I'll say it again. When I say Your Name, I mean the anime movie, not Your Name, Andrew, although, yes, nice name.
It's all right. I might rebrand to Green Shield.
I swear to God. I swear to God. I swear to God, Green Andrew. Oh, but Grandrew. There's a
new D&D character picked out right there.
Do you know, there's a blooper I was looking for funny content to make TikToks out of and upload to have some kind of credibility. Hashtag it does not work. But anyway, so I was looking through my files and I've got a couple of them that are just nonsensical titles. So for some reason, I've got one that's just, I think, put the chickens in the bag. And it's from when you and I were doing the Living in the Legends of Zelda universe episode. And it was when I was saying, you know, what would happen if you put a chicken, you know, like if you grabbed a chicken and you threw it in and...
a cuckoo, please.
Well, a cuckoo, yes, of course. A cuckoo chicken. And yeah, I was like, oh, what if you threw one of them? Because in the games, if you hurt them, they all flock to you. And I was like, what if you robbed a bank in Hyrule? It's like, put the chicken in the bag. And it's like, why have I got this saved as its own file? That's it. It's like 13 seconds or something of us like performing a heist in Hyrule. But the other one is when you, Martin, and I were doing I think it was the 4-year anniversary episode, I want to say. And it's when, I don't know, was it you that called me Satsubald, or was it Martin?
I don't remember.
I genuinely can't remember. I don't even remember the context. I just remember someone saying, instead of Satsunami, Satsubald, and then all of a sudden we all just absolutely lost it. And it's just like, Satsubald? Please, that was my father's name. That's because that's actually something that's quite funny, considering you've gone, you know, for a normal name. And I've been stuck with Satsunami because that was the name I chose for my stream. And then, yeah, long story short, yeah, I am stuck with the name, the myth, the legend, Satsubald. So going forward, Andrew, I'd like you to...
Yeah, I'll refer to you as Satsubald from this day forth.
Oh, thank you. But yeah, of course, next week for Animation Month, we have a very special episode that I am totally not still editing. And that, of course, being the Emperor's New Groove. Honestly, that was such a fun episode to do, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really interesting because it was a lot of kind of discussion over early 2000s Disney, and just kind of where both we were at and where Disney was at that time, and kind of the general kind of movie kind of landscape, and then kind of talking about what the kind of creation of Emperor's New Groove looked like with regards to like the huge production issues that it had, how long it took to come out, what it originally was kind of based on. Like there's so much that we do kind of get into that is really, really interesting. And also we're kind of providing our own opinions on the movie. And like spoilers, we both love Emperor's New Groove. So a lot of it is just waxing lyrical about different parts of different characters.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it is just such a funny film. I mean, it's such a fun film as well, but I genuinely thought and I say this in the episode as well, spoilers, but when we were doing it, I thought this is going to be a really quick review. How many times have I said that, Andrew? Way too many. And I was like, yeah, we're just going to go in. We are going to just, talk about the film. Oh, it's a funny film. And then, apparently there is a whole controversy behind the film that it was supposed to be this huge Disney musical. Was that right in saying?
Yeah, it could be one of the kind of Disney musical movies where you have all these characters that have preset songs, but I think there's going to be a lot of kind of influence from was it Sting that was doing it, that one? I was trying to remember if it was him or not. That he was very heavily involved, and then when they did all these kind of production changes, that side of things got cut. Sting got kind of cut out as well, and it became a very different film, different story. Like it seems like a very different idea to what they initially had thought of doing.
It always reminds me, again, I say this in the episode as well, but I remember the Simpsons episode with Sting in it, and it's like he's digging the hole, and he's like, Sting, you're tired, you should probably rest. Not while one of my fans needs me. I don't think I've ever heard Bart play any of your songs. Shh, Marge, he's good at digging. Stop it. It's like...
I actually had made a Emperor's New Groove reference the other day. We were my wife's sister has actually just moved in with us recently, and we were sort of taking stuff back and forth from her previous home to here, and her dad and her left like 15 minutes before us, maybe, and like we arrived like 5 minutes before them when we got there. And like we weren't like firing along the highway or anything like that. We were going at very normal speed, and it felt very much like when Kronk kind of pulls the map out at the end. Is like the logic of it just makes no sense, really.
I thought you were going to say pull the lever, wrong lever. Oh, so funny that film. So good. Have you ever had that, though? Speaking of references and things, have you ever had that where you make a reference? Because I've had a couple I've made to you, and you kind of look at me as if, what? But have you ever had that where you make a reference and the person you're talking to is just like, what are you on about?
Satsu, that's like 90% of my interactions with people.
Is it just Avatar references that you throw about?
No, it's everything. No, I'm so deep. I'm so terminally online and so deeply embedded in pop culture that I don't think I've had an original thought in about 15 years.
Do you know what the worst thing is? See when there's a meme online and, insert any meme, because let's face it, this particular thing is timeless, but you have a particular thing that happens and then it hits the mainstream, like news or whatever, and then someone turns around and goes, oh my God, have you seen this particular weird thing? And you look at it and you're like, I was there when it was written. Don't cite this black magic to us. I'm terminally online. What are you on about?
Yeah, at this point, it's chronically.
I mean, that's the thing, though, especially when you're promoting things for the podcast and even when you and I were streaming together, we were both kind of keeping our ear to the ground going, all right, what are we going to stream? What are we going to play? Are we going to play something that's quite popular? A bit like when we did Warzone together. Which, yeah, that's what I was saying to you before we came on as well, and earlier. I mean, how long has it been since we last played Warzone together?
It was probably about 2 or 3 years ago now.
Really? Wow.
I think it must have been, because I can't think of any reason. Oh no, not any reason rather, but any like time recently that we would have done it. And like it was most popular around kind of pandemic times. Like we played it a decent amount in like 2021, 2022, I think. But I can't think of like when we did our Let's Play channel, we had a fair bit of Warzone content on there, and that must have been 3 years old now.
You know, I think you might be right there, to be honest.
I'm looking it up. I mean, I usually we would like be able to edit this this part out.
Screw it, we're doing it live.
I'm very quickly going to look up when we last played it. I mean, you have highlights from a year ago. Oh no, but you imported everything over, didn't you?
I imported it to our handy dandy Let's Play channel. The kind of rebranded Let's Play channel, Chatsu Plays, because previously it was called T-Posing, and then...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Does it still exist?
Yes and no. I mean, we could rebrand it and put it out as Chatsu T-Posing.
No, but I mean, like, do we have... Are the videos still live?
No, I think I took them down, but I put them up on Patreon. At least the full ones.
They're on your other YouTube channel.
Yeah, I don't know if the full ones are up there. Like the highlights are, because I took a lot of episodes that we did back then, and then just kind of cut them up, and you know, because it is so difficult to get noticed on YouTube, and I feel like one of those notice me red pandas. It's like, notice me, I'm making content. And people are like, I know what you're saying, but no, I don't want to watch your stuff.
You have Best of Satsunami featuring Green Shield plays Pokemon Emerald episode 1 and then no episode 2. The optimism in labeling it episode 1.
Well, the funny thing is, I could have sworn we actually filmed the whole thing. Well, I say filmed, we streamed the whole thing, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. I remember. And we used to do some like grinding of the like getting Pokemon levels up like off stream, so that like when we were on stream it wasn't like so boring.
Yeah, do you remember that time though? Of like when we were streaming, and because that was the early days, wasn't it? Was that not one of the first streams that you and I did together?
Yeah, it would have been one of, if not the first stream we did together, because it was pre-podcast as well, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I think it was back... It might have been pre-pandemic. Like, it might have been, like, 2019 or 2020.
It must have been, though. I'm just trying to remember, because... Yeah, that was like the early scuff days of streaming on Chatsunami. And, well, I say Chatsunami, it was formerly Satsunami 42, and then it went to Chatsunami now. Because that's the thing, it's like I barely, other than, of course, bringing back the wonderful Chatsu Cafe, you know, we have signs over there. We've got signs over there. You probably can't see what I'm doing. I'm pointing here, there, and everywhere. But... yeah, before that, it was mainly a channel for gaming and such, and I think for at least 3 years I was very consistent, and then it really died down for the podcast when we really got that going, didn't it?
Yeah, podcast became much more kind of...
all-consuming.
Well, not necessarily that, but also that they were pretty chill with regards to like not having to worry about entertaining a live audience. We say in front of a live audience, but that you weren't kind of having.
Don't worry about them. They're fine.
Yeah. But that you can kind of edit after the fact and just kind of make it your own project rather than it just being kind of the chaotic nature of live streaming. So I remember saying to you pre-podcast that we should look at doing that because I think that it would better suit what we're kind of doing, and also it's easier for us to work around like our different time zones because I live in North America on Eastern time and you're in the UK. That there's a 5-hour time difference, so having the ability for us to just be like, okay, we're going to do it at this time, and that it doesn't have to be like a consistent kind of like we're going to go live at this time. We can be like, all right, we're not free on that day, but we're free on that day, so we can record, but you'll still have it edited and up for that given day. That there's not that kind of pressure to be able to schedule both of us in. I think that is very kind of handy.
Yeah, because when I started it all the way back in, would you believe it was like October, I want to say, the first episode was streamed on Twitch? Maybe it must have been, because it didn't officially come out, aka I was too lazy to edit it until then. But the first official episode came out in November 2020, like November 30th, 2020. And it's crazy to think that nearly 5 years on, we're still doing it because it almost became a part of the live shows of Chatsunami or Satsunami. Because remember when we had all that free time of lockdown? And we're like, right, okay, Mondays we'll do a stream, Wednesdays the podcast, Fridays we'll do a Let's Play video, and that'll go out. Oh my God, where has the time gone?
See, I somewhat had that, but like I was fortunate in some ways, and in many ways really, that my job was always remote during the pandemic. So I didn't lose like time off work kind of thing. Like I was just continuing to work the entire time. There was no like redundancy or long break or something. And like I kind of, part of me wishes I had that because it was still kind of like everyone was kind of doing fun stuff while I was still working. But at the same time, they made sure that sort of financially it was a lot healthier position for me than a lot of other people.
Who needs money when you have podcasts?
Who needs money when you have content?
Yeah. Look at all this rich content we've got, yeah. Oh, God, yeah. I just remember at the time, obviously, everybody was doing it. And whether it was streaming, whether it was Let's Plays, it was just absolutely overwhelming to see the amount of people deciding to create content. And for all the people who have continued to do it after the lockdowns, and this isn't my weird roundabout way to be like, I'm patting myself on the back. I don't have an emote for that. I can't move my hands. I can't move my hands to give me a pat on the back. But yeah, it was just, it was definitely a different time. And I have just seen that we have, 2 notes that have been left here at the desk. Our very good friend Wonko the Sane has come in saying that after working in Japan for nigh 3 years, I miss my pandemic free time. Honestly, I can see why. I can see why. And Robotic Battle Toaster, have a lovely night. Thank you for joining the cafe. And for anyone who has just arrived in the cafe, please feel free to grab yourself a drink, whether it is a nice tea or I don't know what that is on your table, Andrew, like a milkshake?
It can be whatever you want. There's definitely like some sort of cake with some strawberries on it, and then like maybe like a float, like an ice cream float.
Mm-hmm.
You ever had one of those? They're disgusting. Terrible idea.
Ice cream float?
Yeah.
Is it that bad?
Well, you know how I feel about Coca-Cola.
The purity of
Well, that's the thing. I uncut Coca-Cola
on the rocks.
Well, yeah. I don't like it. I mean, except for like ice, I don't really like Coke to be diluted or changed in its flavor. I like the flavor of Coca-Cola, and I love ice cream. When you're combining them, you've kind of just got this like weird, milky, soda-y contraption that like fulfills neither desire. You've kind of just ruined two good things.
I honestly can't remember if I've had one, to be honest. But
mind you, I was like 11. It's been it's been like 8. It's been like 18 years since I had one. So I might like them more now because I am a bit of a less fussy eater in general. But but like it still kind of repulses me, to be honest. So like if I don't have to have one, I won't. Yeah. But like if they're going, I'll try one again to see if I've gotten used to it yet.
Well, if they're going, if there's like a float salesman on the side of the street.
If you're all right, so you're with your honey at the ice cream bar. It's the 1950s. You have to bear that in mind. It's the 1950s. You're at the local ice cream sundae bar place, and you've got a really big kind of like glass with two straws either side because you're both sipping from either side. I'm wearing a sick leather jacket in this. You have to the jacket's very important. This. Yeah, and so
you've got a new haircut. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, not only a new haircut, it's greased. I've got a little comb. I keep using the comb just repeatedly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I'm sipping on my float, and I'm like, life is good, but it could be better. The ice cream could instead be in a bowl, and the Coke could instead be on its own in a glass, and I enjoy them separately. Like, I don't know about you. Have you ever had like Coca-Cola while having a dessert?
Oh, okay. I see a game here. Yeah. What, you mean like when you have ice cream in your mouth and then you go to take a drink and then you're like, eh.
Well, but yeah, kind of like it's sugar on top of sugar, and like I have a bit of a sweet tooth, not like a huge sweet tooth, but like I enjoy sweet things. But that feels like overkill. It kind of just leaves a very kind of like gross, sicky taste in your mouth.
Yeah, I can see that. Have you ever had one of those? See, like the utterly abominable, like sundaes. You know, the ones where they just pack sugar on top, and you're just like, okay, first of all, ma'am or sir, how the hell am I supposed to eat this? Second of all, are you trying to put me in a sugar coma here?
I've not really because those kind of repulse me because I feel like those are just like for Instagram. They don't like no one truly enjoys. I can't believe anyone would actually enjoy those like mukbang like content desserts. Like they're revolting. Like when they've like piled like ice cream in there. They've got like fudge sauce, and then they throw like some Oreos in there, and then they put like a slice of cake in there, and then a donut, and then they like fire more whipped cream on it, and then they just like put more chocolate sauce on there, and then they're like, isn't this yummy? Wouldn't you want this? And it's like, no, I wouldn't. That just put me in a diabetic coma.
Yeah, because those types of desserts are made for children, and I don't mean like they're made for children to eat. You would kill a child if you gave them that. But like, no,
it's like what you'd expect. It's like what you expect, like in a Richie Rich thing, where like that's what he's served, kind of thing. Like it's not a real. It's like what a child imagines that they want, but like if they were actually ever given one, they'd take like two bites of it and be like, "No, I'm good." Like it's. I
can't believe. I can't believe in 2025 I've got to the Richie Rich core of the internet. It's like, it'd be cool if you had a McDonald's in there. It'd be cool. It's like, no, it wouldn't. You'd be going to bed and all you'd smell is like fries from downstairs. Like, I see when you watch that film, and I'm gonna put my panda cards on the table here, but it's been years since I've seen that film. But that's the only bit I remember from it, that they had.
That he had a McDonald's.
Yeah, like a deal with McDonald's or something. I don't even know what the plot of Richie Rich was. Was he couldn't get friends, and he was just horribly rich?
Yeah, because his parents kind of coddled him, and he never, like, I guess, like, because he was so rich, like, he could never really truly believe that anyone was his friend just because they were his friend. And they kind of just liked him for his money. So, like, I haven't seen that movie in, like, forever, but Twitter keeps just, like, posting random clips of, like, not very good movies. As like in the same way you used to see like iconic clips from like these great films kind of thing. Now it's just like random like 45-second clips from Richie Rich where like the butler is escaping from prison and is given like the magic toothpaste that'll dissolve the bars on his cell. And like that's what they're kind of like doing as iconic clips.
I do not remember that part of Richie Rich at all. Was he a Bond villain or something?
No, Richie smuggled it in. This was all in the clip, by the way. Richie goes to the guard and is like, my uncle needs a very special toothpaste. And the guard's like, okay. And Richie gives it over. And the butler doesn't even know until like he goes to brush his teeth. And all of a sudden he looks down and like it's only like the melty plasticky bit, like the hair bit of the toothbrush, the head of the toothbrush has like melted away and is non-existent. And he's like, oh, isn't this a remarkable thing? And it's like, yes, random American guy putting on a British accent to be the butler.
Yeah. I mean, I thought he was just giving it so he can make a shiv or something. Richie Rich breaking out.
I've not seen this movie in 15 plus years, but like there's I'm pulling this out my ass. There's definitely a scene of the butler beating up a really tough guy in the prison.
Okay. Man, I need to rewatch this film because it's wild. And again, I can't believe the takeaway of a film where, it's like the richest boy in the neighborhood or whatever. He's got acid toothpaste. He's got a butler that kicks ass. And the only thing I can remember is, oh yeah, he had a McDonald's in his house. That is pathetic. Oh, speaking of those clips, though, do you get that song that Bruno Mars and Lady Gaga did? That Die With a Smile. But it's like, that is playing on absolutely everything. It's like a really sad scene that's like, oh, doctor, am I going to live? I don't know, blah, blah, blah. And then you hear just Bruno Mars like singing over them like some angel of death.
I don't remember if I heard it probably, but like with a lot of these clips, like it just auto plays and with no audio, and I just don't want to click on it and listen to the audio because I also don't want to give them I know it still gives them the like interaction statistic, even if I like hover over it, but I don't I just on principle I don't want to click on it because I'm like, this is such slop, and it's definitely like a bot that just generates these things. So the worst thing, not the worst thing, but one of the worst things about Twitter right now is that you see like no actual engagement with anything. Like if you were to click on one of those videos, it's all just like, what movie, Akrok? What Richie was truly a great servant to the community in this scene.
What, you mean like the obvious bot posts?
Yeah, there's so many like things where it like clearly is evaluated what's happening in the scene, but makes like the most milquetoast like response you could possibly ever imagine. And so the person that like, if it's a real person, you are the most boring MFer that's ever existed, or you're a bot. Like it can't be, you can't be genuine with those kinds of opinions. Like it's so poor.
Yeah, it's so fake. I don't know, you get a lot of that either with a lot of Twitter posts as well, because trust me, as someone who spends their time trying to promote the hell out of the podcast there, and you just see all of these weird posts that are clearly bots. Like, that whole dead internet theory where it's a lot of people saying that there's pockets of the internet that it's just bots talking to bots. It's not even real people. And, like, in years to come, all of these historians are going to be like, hey, kids, you want to hear about this dead internet theory? That is if historians haven't been outsourced to, like, as you said, Grok or insert any AI here, which... honestly, do you feel as if it's getting worse, though, that all these AI content channels are just overrunning the platform?
Oh, totally. It's become such an unbearable platform now. Unfortunately, I have such a severe addiction to it that, like, I've not been able to pry myself, like, off of that app. Because there's a lot of stuff on there that I'm still, like, getting benefit from. But it is such a painful experience now. And, like, I managed to get off of Facebook. Like, Facebook I stopped using years ago. I very rarely use Instagram. It's usually just kind of like I get messages from people like you, or that I kind of go on to look at and respond to. Yeah, essentially. And, like, when I get those and I then press, like, back on the message and my feed will come up, sometimes I'll scroll down, I'll find something funny, and then I'll send it to you or my wife or my brother or something like that. And then, like, TikTok, I kind of tried, but I wasn't willing to invest enough time into making the algorithm, like, know what I like, because it just kept giving me this, like, sloppy guy stuff. There was just like hot girls and bikinis and, like, videos of guys speeding on the road and cops pulling them over and like practical jokes and alpha males and the Andrew Tate generation kind of stuff. And I'm like, this isn't what I want. And I couldn't figure out how to, like, tell it, stop showing me this.
Stop it. That's the thing, though, because, when you click the I'm not interested in this, YouTube or Twitter or whatever, will go, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying. But how about
Twitter is so bad for that. It just ignores you. Like, there's so many, like, super right wing things that just, like, pop on my feed, and, like, I could block them, and I have done that for some of the times because I don't want to see a lot of that stuff, and so I've done that. But, like, a lot of the time I'll click, like, not interested, but it does nothing. Like, I just keep being given that stuff, and I'm not searching it out, so there's no reason for the algorithm to, like, give that to me, like, organically. It's very much like it's pushing it, and it's become. There was one day or two where it was, like, really bad. Like, every second post that I scrolled by was, like, aggressively right wing. Like, it was, like, super, like, anti-immigration and anti-LGBT stuff. And I was like, why is my feed doing this? Like, what's happening? And, like, it's now kind of toned down a little bit, but yeah, like, I was genuinely like, oh my god, like, I'm gonna have to leave the app because, like, it's just become a, like, complete nonsense. Fortunately, it's only now, like, 55% nonsense.
Because it reminds me of, and I cannot remember for the life of me which YouTuber this is, so in the chance they ever listen to this or watch this, I apologise in advance, but it was this YouTuber who decided, right, what I'm going to do, and this was years ago, they said, right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to log out of my account, I'm just going to come in as if, I'm a guest, I'm a, casual viewer, as it were. And the first couple of videos, I want to say, they were alright, I think, for them. Like, I want to, talk about speedboats, or, I want to, watch this and that. And then all of a sudden, 2, like, videos later, it's like, do you want to be a manly man? Do you want to be a manly man and, be a terrible person? And it's like, dude, what the hell? I just came here to watch, like, funny podcasts and things. Oh, you want podcasts? And then it's, like, the worst. I genuinely keep getting, because obviously, no surprise here, I'm part of the podcast sphere within Twitter, but every time my heart like just sinks every time I get one of these stupid clips from these certain podcasts. You know the ones I mean, the ones where it's like,
five guys and one girl, and they're all like talking about like this, like why women are inferior and that kind of stuff.
Pretty much, yeah. And it's just absolutely disgusting content. You know, you're sitting there going, why is this getting recommended? And you go by, but because you lingered for that 1 second more, that they'll go,
I know.
So
I have such an annoying curiosity / FOMO that like I do linger long enough that like sometimes I think the algorithm does think that I enjoy that content, and or like sometimes my morbid curiosity gets the better of me, and I want to see what the comments say. And so I'll click on it to like see what the comments say, and like then it's like, ooh, I see you enjoyed that. Here's more regressively terrible stuff.
Please, algorithm Chan, no. It's like, no. Because I remember, and I don't know, are you still on TikTok, out of curiosity, before I go on this ramble?
I mean, I have it, but like I kind of use it in the same kind of thing as Instagram, where like if people send me stuff, then I watch it. But I turned off, like you and my wife essentially. But I turned off notifications, so I don't even get, because like some of the apps are really annoying, where like you either turn off notifications and get nothing, or you turn on notifications, but there isn't like an option to be like, just when people like send me stuff. It's always like, Dwayne The Rock Johnson's just posted on Instagram, and I'm like, I don't care. Stop telling me this.
That is one thing I genuinely hate about, especially for Twitter /X, where I have a profile, of course, under Satsunami42, which I had when I started out, and then I transitioned to Chatsunami. And I was like, right, okay, perfectly fine. You know, I am sure there will be no problems in the future with this. And I remember I was sitting there and I thought, yeah, this is okay so far, no problem. And then I got 1 or 2 posts that got promoted, and it was like really personal stories from people. And, you know, like, I'm not judging anyone who decides, oh, they've gone through a hard time, they're going to post their, you know, their voice, their story there. But it was just how I never followed these certain people. And yeah, as you were saying there, it wasn't even The Rock Johnson. It was just random 42 who was like, oh yeah, do you want to check this out? And I'm like, who are you? You know, that way. It's like your grandparent or something. It's like, who's in my phone? It's like, get them out. It's like, get out of my phone. It's just, it's a pain. And I mean, I'm the same. I've got notifications completely off TikTok because the amount of these videos that get recommended, a lot of them are just absolute nonsense. And obviously, you get the ones that you think, oh, this is clever, this is creative, at Chatsunami, cough, cough. But then you get ones that are just, you know, especially the lives. Have you ever scrolled by them?
Not really. I know like a lot of people just kind of try and make it like their like lives are really interesting, and so they just kind of go live just doing nothing, and they just kind of sit there just kind of looking at their phone.
Yeah, it's either that or it's the most insane thing. And I don't mean that as a compliment. I remember one of my fellow friends in the Podfat Collective, she had sent through a screenshot to our group chat. And again, it's going back to what I was saying before of someone saying, oh my God, it's terrible. And you're sitting there going, yeah, unfortunately, I've seen this. And of course, it was a guy who had like a toilet seat around his neck with, let's just say, chocolate on it. And obviously it was fake and everything, but it was one of those things you just looked at and thought, wow, this is the internet now, guys. This is the internet.
that's one of my least favorite types of videos that you see at the moment. Like the like super staged ones that are like made for like engagement interactions and stuff, and like they get posted. I mostly see them on Twitter, but it'll be like a mum, like a careless mum on the phone, like knocking over a bunch of cans in a store, and then the kids like picking them up and helping the old man stack them. And it's like how great the youth, like young people are. And it's like this was clearly like a staged video. And like so many of them are like this, where like it was like a super staged video that like why would someone have like, all right, benefit of the doubt in that one, there might be like a store camera, but for most of these, it's like, why would someone be recording this? Like how would you have caught this on camera just like magically? Like it's all like so fake, and then you go into the comments, and the comments are like, such a good deed done, children really are the future. And it's like again, just like bots, just go away. Like why is this just dominating every kind of discourse now? And like sometimes you'll see a genuinely interesting video that I want to see if someone knows more information about it, and it'll just be like bots that are saying nothing. What it used to be, I remember back in the day, there'd be some accounts that post videos that were interesting, and you'd go into the comments, and it would just be other people trying to be comedians and try and get famous, and they'd be posting like videos and memes and stuff in there, and so like there was no discourse to be had on the original video, because everyone was just kind of posting other stuff to try and get likes and engagement and stuff like that. And that was its own kind of hell. So really, Twitter's just been terrible for the last like 5 years, but if not longer. But like, it just goes in waves of just annoying stuff.
Yeah, I honestly can't disagree with that. It's a weird system, I suppose. And again, it's something that I've talked about to other creators, of course, in the podcast, and yourself at length, to which you block me. But for legal reasons, that's a joke. But yeah, it's like where there's almost this pressure for a lot of creators to basically abandon their individuality and just say, right, do you know what I want to be? I want to be the next, like, I don't know, Mr. Beast, or I want to be the next top podcaster, or, well, not podcaster, but like the top streamer, the top YouTuber, that kind of thing. And you're just kind of sitting there like, but you've already got like a great thing going here. Why do you want to be somebody else, kind of thing? It is bizarre. It is really, and again, I'm not like criticizing them for following the trends, but I saw a thing actually. It was that, is it Kai Cenat, I want to say? I'm going to be honest, I've just seen clips of the guy. He seems to be very, popular and everything, and he's doing great at his channel. I say that he's like not a millionaire, but he does really well with it and gets all these celebrities in. But there was a thing I saw, and it was saying how he wanted to create this streamer academy. And that's not the first time I've seen this, because I think it was Dubai that also had a similar thing. They said, oh, we want to create this school or university where we can teach you to be the best streamer. And it's like, I don't know about you, but do you think, Andrew, that this is just going to create a conga line, as it were? Funny thought, but a conga line of just exactly the same type of creator, as opposed to, individual ones.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly an argument there. I think that's already happened, to be honest. I think that there is a lot of just the same stuff, and like each to their own. It's very much an opinion based thing, where like I might look at something and say these two creators are carbon copies of each other, and their fans will say, no, this person's good for this reason, whereas I don't like this person for this reason. Like there will be kind of differences, and like there will be some aspects that you can kind of cling to with any kind of given creator. But for the most part, kind of looking from the outside, it does all kind of seem the same. And it's somewhat hypocritical, because like the nature of what we're doing isn't especially groundbreaking. Like there's a lot of people who do what we're doing, and kind of what our argument then is like what we're doing is hopefully kind of creating an entertaining, I don't want to say product, like again that sounds awful, but like
how dare you?
we're creating something for people's entertainment that they are able to enjoy and to kind of grasp onto us as personalities. As and that like that is what kind of the general struggle of a creator is, that like for the most part a lot of what's being put out has already been done, and it now becomes very much a culture of personality. Like can you present yourself in an appealing enough way to enough people that distinguishes you from the thousands of others who are effectively doing what you're doing?
And I mean, even when, of course, you and I started streaming on Twitch and everything, it was hard to really stand out amongst the crowd, wasn't it? You know, it's like, it's not like I totally get what you mean. You can't say, oh, you're, you know, groundbreaking at what we're doing here, because at the end of the day, we are talking about topics that are either important to us or are of interest to us. And that's the thing, though. You know, it's like, it's because we are putting our personal spin on it, and a lot of other podcasters that I've met before, they do exactly the same thing of putting, you know, a different spin on it. Because I think it's something that is very undervalued, that a lot of podcasters come into podcasting and go, or content creation in general, and think, right, all I have to do is play the game, talk about the topic, etc., and then that's it, you know, don't have to do anything else. And you're like, no, there's a lot more. I mean, you've heard me moan about it as well, and I know you have your editing roles with the Stop, Drop and Roll Initiative podcast, which is a great podcast, by the way. Definitely
all
go check
2
it out.
episodes of it.
Yeah. I don't even have like a emote there to put my, you know, fingers up like, yeah, victory. Because technically we have filmed, or recorded, I should say, the 8 episodes. I want to say 8, 9, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's either 8 or 9. I think there's kind of like there's some like half episodes that kind of need to be kind of formed into one.
Hey, that's a half episode.
Yeah, essentially. Like I kind of struggled very much with editing. Like I put my like heart and soul into the very first episode of Stop, Drop and Roll Initiative, and I'd seen my kind of background prior to even playing Dungeons and Dragons was listening to podcasts about them. Like some of the first podcasts that I listened to were Dungeons and Dragons. And like I still listen to NADPod today. I still listen to Dungeon and Daddies. Like those like stuck with me, and they really put a lot of effort into like the editing and production of those podcasts. And like a lot of them use like certain sound effects and music and like Critical Role, which I watched like Vox Machina, the show. I couldn't really get into the actual kind of podcast stream of Critical Role, but when I started listening to the first one, it starts out in a bar setting, and you can hear chitter chatter from people around them, and to be honest, it was kind of too much for me. I felt like they hadn't quite got the editing right there, and it sounded a bit too loud. I couldn't really hear what the characters were saying. But I liked the idea behind it. So I kind of decided when I was editing the first episode that I would include kind of ambiance kind of sounds throughout. And so in the first episode, you hear some bar chitter chatter, you hear doors opening, you hear horses clip-clopping as the characters are going down the road. You hear cave noises when they're in a cave and stuff like that. Like I spent a lot of time doing that, and it became so like such a long process to do that like I couldn't do it for the second one. Like it took me too long to do, and so like just getting the second one up, I just like put the podcast out there without it. And even that, like, it took a long time, and dealing with 4 distinct audio like channels that I was having to like edit around became quite overwhelming. And a big problem I had and like largely from my own kind of like mental health issues was if I see something that's like a big task, rather than saying I'll break it up and do little chunks at a time, I see the whole project as too overwhelming, and that then becomes quite a difficult project for me. So I don't know, like, if you've had that when you've had like when you first started, and like what you kind of did to get over it, or if you've always kind of been able to kind of manage it in like, I'll do this bit then, and also kind of just like managing your own personal life, because just kind of being able to say like, I'm going to go set aside time to go do this, instead of being like, I'm going to go play a game, I'm going to go interact with my partner. Like it baffles me how you're able to do it and how other creators are able to do it, because it seems so challenging to me.
Lots of caffeine, lots of prayers. Next question. No, jokes aside, legal reasons, that's a joke. Please bear with me here. Yeah, I am 100% with you there. And especially when I started doing the podcast, because as I've said to you before, I've said to our lovely Pandalorians in the cafe right now, I genuinely was just so taken aback by how much a podcast, like how much I had to do for the podcast. Because a lot of people, I've said this before and I'll say it a million times over, if you're wanting to start a podcast, you have to know what you're getting yourself into. Because it's not a case of you just get a microphone, you speak into it. I mean, that's the fundamental basic of it. But if you're an indie podcaster, you're not a celebrity or anything like that, or you don't have a big following to support you in the initial push. Because I remember I saw someone today who started Twitch streaming, and I think they got about 100 followers in one stream. And the reason for that was because that they had a huge audience to begin with on Twitter, Blue Sky, those kind of places. So you can understand that, but I feel as if it's very demoralising. And I mean, I was moaning to you all the time when we were creating content together that I just didn't know how to promote it. I didn't know how to get into the right circles and things. And, you know, because a lot of people, especially at the beginning stage, I don't want to say they want to use you, but they want to do that follow for follow. They want to do that, oh, I'll check out your content, wink, yeah. And then, you know, of course, they're just blasting their promotion, and it's not a healthy relationship. But when you're putting your all into it and you're not getting as much back from it, I can totally just sympathise with the fact that I know there's hundreds of people who feel the same way. And going back to what you were saying about the mammoth task, I mean, see if I sit down in front of a computer and I had the willpower, as it were, to just spend the whole day just working on it, then I would probably get it done. But it's so much work, and I feel as if I do have to break it down, because if I sit there and I do it constantly, I mean, there's episodes that you and I have done, some absolutely amazing episodes, and I shudder at some of them because of the mistakes I've made, because I've rushed through certain bits. I've said, all right, I'm going to edit this, I'm going to edit that. And then when I listen, I'm like, how did I miss that big gap in the middle kind of thing? And it fills me with that sense of, or at least back then, because I always remember Martin told me that, oh, you should maybe leave like a like or a or, you know, to keep it more natural. nowadays I don't listen to that advice. I just take them all out. I'm like, no, there's not going to be a like, there's not going to be an but it is so overwhelming at the very beginning, and I feel as if maybe it is just Stockholm Syndrome, podcast Stockholm Syndrome, but the more you do it, the more shortcuts that you start to see. You think, right, okay, this bit's easier, that bit's easier, and you do get them out a lot more, but as you were saying, I think that's something that people grossly underestimate, the time management that's involved in a podcast. So much so that I genuinely think if you run a podcast, put it on your CV, because if someone thinks, oh, it's a silly thing where, I mean, I say silly thing, I'm a red panda on screen right now for anyone who can't see this in the audio only episode, but, you know, I'm talking through a red panda and you're a PNG, but at the same time, you guys know, you know, it's true that it is such an important, or not so much important, but it's such an important thing to realise that there's a lot of work. It's going to be an uphill struggle, and especially at the beginning, I'm totally with you there. My mental health with it for the first maybe couple of months of content creation, I genuinely wanted to give up. I genuinely, I wouldn't be here if I had, but I genuinely thought, right, I'm not getting the views, I'm not getting the, traction. And, you know, it was partly on me for the tactics I was using. You know, I mean, you'll have seen this as well, the evolution of the podcast, but, you know, you go from that and you think, right, okay, is this who I want to be? And it's not very static, is it? Do you find that this whole journey that we've been through together, because let's face it, you've been here since the beginning as well, do you feel it's been quite a dynamic journey quite a fluid journey rather than a very static one?
Do you want to elaborate on what you mean by that?
You know, it's constantly changing. I don't feel as if we have been the same two people since the beginning of this journey.
I was called Adam.
Yeah, true. And then you're Martin. And then you are... It's like Doctor Who all over again.
I get reborn every few years.
But yeah, do you feel as if we've changed? Because that's actually something I've asked you.
You've changed, man. You used to be cool.
You're a sellout, man.
Chatsu's still cool.
And it'll happen to you. It'll happen to you. Do you feel genuinely, because, and this is something that was scaring me when I did the first episode of Chatsu Cafe and Martin said we'd been friends for probably over half my life, and I was like, oh my God. Do you feel as if, you know, if we had started the podcast in, you know, university and then gone on, it would not be the same, would it?
No, we had talked when we were in university about setting up a YouTube channel, because you and I watched Game Grumps a lot, and we would play video games together, and we would have a lot of laughs while playing it, and we thought we'd be such great let's players, people would love us. The idea of a podcast hadn't really even occurred to us at that point, but we would not have been nearly interesting enough. We didn't have enough lived experience. We didn't have enough fully formed opinions at that point in our lives, that I don't think it would have been an entertaining enough experience. And we probably would have said something stupid, that that would have maybe gotten us in trouble or something. Nothing bad in that way, but that we weren't mature enough, I don't think, at that point to be able to have the kind of conversations that we're having and do it in a more concise, cohesive way. I say that while rambling. So I think, to answer your kind of question, yeah, I do think that we've kind of evolved in how we present the podcast now. If you do listen to like my very first episode, which was the Star Wars Clone Wars episode that we did, not only is the audio quality on my end much worse, but I think you can kind of hear a nervousness in my voice. Like I don't have the same kind of confidence when I'm speaking in these episodes that I do now. And so I think that there's certainly a comfort level that's come from this, and kind of an ability to kind of speak about things in a more kind of general, well, both general and a more kind of niche kind of way, that you kind of have the kind of ability to look at things from a wider lens, and then also kind of look at it from a more detailed perspective. Whereas I think before it would have been, you would have had a very kind of close-minded view, not you specifically, like you being us.
How dare you?
So I do think that we've matured. Like if you listen to a good example, and this came out now a couple of years ago, I think, but our Perfect Blue episode, that is a very good encapsulation of like where we've come as podcasters and kind of hosts of this channel, and like how we discussed that topic. I felt was in a very, not necessarily mature. That's not really the word I'm looking for, but like that we were able to kind of discuss it in a way that better fit the property, and the discussion on wider kind of mental health and all these kinds of things. So that I think is something that I would have struggled a lot more with at an earlier stage, and even just kind of a media literacy kind of standpoint, that I might have discarded the film for it being kind of weird and not really being into it, whereas now I kind of appreciate it in a more, I keep saying the word mature, but like in a sense that you're able to kind of grasp the themes and the imagery in it.
I mean, you're completely right there, because I was actually thinking about this when I did an episode, I think it must have been season 2, where either the end of season 2 or early season 3 with Adam, where we talked about a couple of indie games that we absolutely loved. That, of course, being, and when I say loved, I mean that like with a big asterisk when I say that. That, of course, being things like Papers, Please, Return to the Obra Dinn, even things like Kind Words, and especially for me, To the Moon. Now, I remember I actually got To the Moon in the Humble Bundle probably around the same time that you and I met, and I honestly thank the gaming gods every single day that I did not play it in university, because I feel as if I had played it then, I would have spoiled it for myself, and I wouldn't have had that same emotional renaissance with it, or I wouldn't have understood it the same way, because when you're a student back then, especially, and this is over 10 years ago, which is a scary thing to think about, but over 10 years ago, we were making jokes, having a slightly calmer life compared to nowadays with everything going on, but you had that all going on, and you're completely right. There wasn't that sense of lived experience. You'd be making jokes going, oh, haha, they're going to the moon. Oh, they might meet aliens. Haha. Whereas, you see this game, and I don't know if you've played it yet, but it's just such a bittersweet game. It's so heartbreaking, but it's also got like lovely moments as well. I mean, if you look at Kind Words, that is, again, Adam summed it up perfectly. He said he wouldn't really describe it as a game because it's not really a game. It is a game, but it's like you're getting other people's opinions sent to you. and or not opinions, but like views and vents, and as an anonymous person, you have to go back to them and say, okay, this is what we think of this thing, and if I can offer, advice on that, I'll give you it. But those are the kind of things that I think past Satsu, or as Martin said in the past, the Chatsu Cafe standard Satsu, mini Martin and standard Satsu time. Yeah,
past due.
Yeah, past due. Yeah, exactly. Or ancestor Andrew as well. I don't think that I would have had the same reaction to it. And I feel as if a lot of the episodes come across better for it. Like, I genuinely, it's not one I would recommend unless they're an anime fan, but I think that the Perfect Blue episode especially is one of our best together. Because
fun fact about that one is we recorded it twice.
Very true. Very true. Oh my God, yeah. I remember trying to save the audio and I was just like, no, it's gone, guys. I'm sorry. Yeah, but I mean, it didn't hurt the episode, surprisingly. I think we made relatively the same points, but...
Yeah, I think we actually brought up some points that we had missed in the first time, and I think that the second time round was actually better than the first.
Because it's something that we don't really get much of, is it? Like, when I say that, like a chance to do over certain episodes, because funny you should mention that when we did our first episode together, and I want to say it's the first episode that I didn't do live on stream.
Correct, and, because of the time zone differences, it made it too difficult to be able to have us both like available at the same time. So we did a pre-recorded episode, and that was your first time doing that.
Because we did the Clone Wars. We had to split them up into two, but we did like the 2003 Clone Wars show, part 1, part 2, and yeah, that was such a good... It was an interesting episode, but I remember even Adam saying to me that when we did our like Halo retrospective, and he hates that episode, by the way, he absolutely hates that because oh my God, it's just, again, it's the same reasons, because the way you felt and the way he felt, that it was just like quite nervous getting into it. And I mean, even if you listen to my first episode of Chatsunami, it is rough. It's got over 300 plays. I don't know why, but it's
because like so many people start with episode 1 when they check out a new channel, and so like it's episode 1 is usually gonna be pretty heavily listened to, but yeah, it's for more times than not, the first episode is usually one of, if not the worst.
Because I remember, who was? In fact, it might have been Toaster, Robotic Battle Toaster. That is not my own toaster. I remember he said to me when we first met, he was saying, "Oh, by the way, I'm listening to your podcast. It's really cool." And I was like, "Oh, cool. What episode are you listening to?" See my face? It dropped. It dropped so hard when I saw that he was listening to like episode 1. And I was like, that scene that I always like to reference from Interstellar, the guy banging the glass going, no, please, don't do it. And, they're listening to episode 1. There was another, I think it was actually one of our Pandalorian patrons, Cryptic 1991, and he was streaming on Twitch. He was playing a lot of our episodes on there. Big shout out to Cryptic 1991, by the way. He was playing, I think, Euro Truck Simulator, one of these like simulators where you drive the truck, and he was playing the podcast through his stream, and I thought, oh, that's really cool, thank you so much. I'm going to be honest, I didn't recognise half the episodes that came up. They're so... I think I say old, but, they're about 4 to 5 years old. I was just really surprised. I was like, oh my God, wow. I did not expect that.
I didn't even know that was a thing you could do.
Well, yeah, you can play audio through... Well, I don't think it was through the game. I think it was more just... It was playing it through Spotify or something. But, I mean, he did ask me beforehand, and I said, yeah, absolutely, go for it. But, again, it's like, when you listen
Is there
back
someone they forgot to ask?
Jesus?
It was Jesus.
Yeah, true. But, yeah, I've got a question for you, though. Do you usually listen to old... In fact, where is your cut-off? See, for listening to old episodes, where do you stop? Because I know you must stop somewhere.
I stop episodes that I'm not on,
True,
and then
true.
continue when I'm back on that episode.
No, but seriously, is there any season that you don't go back to, like season 1 or early season 2?
To be honest, I'm not a big re-listener of episodes. Like, just in general, I don't really... I don't look backwards, I don't look forwards. No, but occasionally I'll have a bit of nostalgia and I'll listen to our Beyblades episode or our Halo Legends episode or something like that. But I kind of will listen to it at the time.
Yeah.
And that's kind of fine for me. I don't really need to go back with it. The kind of thing with podcasts for me is how it's a new thing each time, that I'm not hearing what I've already heard before. There are some movies and shows and stuff that I will go back and do rewatches of those things, but typically I like to move on to the next thing. The only time that I often rewatch or re-listen to things is to show them to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
So if I was showing someone, which I've never actually done, one of our episodes, then I would do it that way. But there's a podcaster a podcast channel that I've referenced before that was actually the very first podcast I ever listened to, Wizard and the Bruiser. They're now rebranded. They're called Nerd of Mouth. But they would do very specific topics on properties that they would go into a deep dive on, the kind of history and making of and all that kind of stuff. And it's very interesting. And so sometimes if I was driving in the car with someone, usually my now wife, then my partner, I might have put be you might be interested in the history of the Muppets. And we'd listen to an hour-long thing talking about Jim Henson's past and where each of the kind of Muppet shows and stuff kind of came from and that kind of thing. That I will revisit because I'm experiencing it with someone else who hasn't heard it, and so you can kind of get a bit of a discourse from it and kind of just discuss. But I'm not the kind of person generally who kind of goes back and listens to other episodes, probably because I take enjoyment in listening to what I've made, with regards to you and I recording the content I've kind of created, and I will listen to it the first time, nice, okay, good job, kind of thing. But I feel if I go back and listen to it again, I'll just pick out the things I could have done better. I could have been funnier if I'd said this. My audio wasn't very good in this bit or something like that. So I feel I would be more critical of myself re-listening to it. Kind of getting back to what you were kind of asking though, the only ones that I have really listened to are the kind of it's mostly when back in the days with you, Adam, and I, where we had the three of us on an episode on First and Last or just other kind of Chatsunanis kind of stuff. Those are typically the ones I listen to back most, but there isn't necessarily a cutoff, I would say.
No, that's fair, to be honest. because I have to say, when I go back to listen to them, and usually because I re-listen to them, they get mixed up with a lot of my other podcasts that I listen to, because I listen to a lot of other indie podcasters like Casting Views, who he's actually launched a really good gaming podcast called, I think, Gaming Views, I want to say. Now, he does a really good gaming podcast, as well as a general topics one. There's Seismic Cinema, there's Howdy Beans podcast, those kind of ones. Game Club Pod, they would absolutely kick me in the face if I didn't mention them. But I'll have them in the kind of lineup, and then all of a sudden I'll be like, oh, these guys are funny. And I'm like, wait a minute. That's us. It's me and you, Andrew. Oh my God. Which I always find hilarious, but because I was, I think I was saying this to you the other day, that I was out like cutting my hedge, and I had like every single person in my neighbourhood, lovely neighbours, by the way, I can't fault them for that, but the amount of people who were like, oh, do you want to do it this way? Do you want to borrow this? Do you want to borrow that? And I'm like, I just want to cut my hedge. But I was, of course, listening to another episode, and then, of course, that ended, and I couldn't change episodes, as it were. So what ended up happening was our episode started playing on Detective Pikachu for Animation Month, and I was like, huh, interesting. And that is a great episode, by the way. If you haven't listened to that, please go back and listen to the Detective Pikachu episode. But there are honestly so many episodes that, yeah, there's so many episodes that I have to admit I've listened back to. And yeah, I have to say, like, for me, I have to say, I don't really listen to many in the kind of season 1 tier, because again, that's when my editing was at its worst, to be honest. But honestly, I feel as if, see, going forward and ending this episode on a very positive note, as it were, yeah, I feel like, yeah, the future's only going to get better for Chatsunami, isn't it? It can only get better, can't it, Andrew?
Well, we'll have to wait
Andrew,
and see,
please.
won't we? It's all up in the air, really. Depends what I reincarnate. It depends what I reincarnate into as the next host.
I mean, you're either going to reincarnate as a rich host, or I don't know,
a Richie Rich host, if you will.
No, I was going to say either that or
callback.
Yeah, no. You know what's scary? I was about to make the exact same thing, to be like, you reincarnate as someone who works in a Richie Rich McDonald's.
Oh no. The worst kind of future.
No, send me into the bug, please. I was like, no. God damn it. Oh, amazing. And, yeah. But honestly, as I was saying before, this season has been absolutely fantastic of Chatsunami. You and I have done about 2 months, I want to say, 2 themed months in particular. We did the Avatar month, the month after Martin and I did Mario month. Last month there, we did Animation month, and of course, yeah, coming up in the next couple of months in August, we will have Bioshock month with the amazing pod pack. So cannot wait to show you that. But saying that note, because I'm looking at the door and I can see the barista, turning his sign to say closed. So I think that is
the McCafe barista.
The McCafe. Oh, don't insult my baristas like that. Come on now.
Richie Rich McCafe barista.
Richie Rich fell in hard times after the lockdowns, okay? His Twitch career didn't go off.
Can I have nuggets? No, we don't do nuggets at a McCafe in Richie Rich's house. It's an espresso and a stale muffin or nothing.
A stale muffin or nothing. They should put that on a t-shirt. Oh, and on that note, before Richie Rich decides to sue us, yeah,
You should get a commission of me wearing an apron. It's a stale muffin or nothing.
Stale muffin. Take a note of that, because I probably will try and get that as the merch. But yeah, on that note, Andrew, thank you so much for joining me at last in the Chatsu Cafe. Hope you have had a fantastic time with your uneaten sundae and cake, but it's okay. We'll eat that after the cameras are off. But yeah, thank you so much.
Curdled.
Oh, why? Oh, but yeah, no, thank you so much for coming.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me.
And before we wrap up and I do the usual spiel of where to find us, etc., where can the amazing Pandalorians find your content?
The Pandalorians can find my content on many other fantastic episodes of Chatsunami. We talked a little bit about some of the stuff that's just recently come out. At the time of this live recording, we're reaching the end of Animation Month. So there'll be a couple more animated movies that we'll be discussing over the next couple of weeks, which will have since passed if you listen to this on recording. And yeah, there's been several other fantastic theme months and just random episodes that I've been on, and there's been some fantastic episodes on Chatsunami in general that I've not. But you can find me there. You can also find me on our other podcast, Stop, Drop, and Roll Initiative, a Dungeons and Dragons podcast, with myself, Chatsunami or Satsunami, Robotic Battle Toaster, and Martin McAllister. That can be found on where all good podcasts are found at Stop, Drop, and Roll Initiative. There's 2 episodes out currently, and at some point in the distant future, there will be a third. And that can be found at SDRI Pod on Twitter, and you can find me at GreenShield95 also on Twitter. Where can the fine Pandalorians out there find you?
Well, I'm glad you asked, cut out of Andrew. The amazing Pandalorians can find myself, and of course you as well, on our website, chatsunami.com, as well as all good podcast apps. I also want to give a huge shout out to our amazing Pandalorian patrons. You can see just on that board, we have Robotic Battle Toaster, we've got Sonia, we've got Ghostie, and last but not least, we have got Cryptic 1991. Thank you.
You get that paw away from me. Stop pointing that at me. Get that the fuck away from my 2-dimensional image.
Never. I'm putting my paw down now, Jesus.
It's still up. I can still see it. It's creeping me out. Stop it.
Anyway, sorry, the paw's down. And yeah, if you want to become a Pandalorian patron and you don't want me to point at you, this is a threat, not an offer. You can indeed check us out. Legal reasons, that's a joke. You can indeed check us out at our Patreon page, patreon.com/Chatsunami, where you can get a wide range of exclusive access, early access, commentary tracks, bloopers, and yeah, many more wonderful things. So please feel free to check that out. This podcast is, of course, a member of the Podpack Collective. For more information, check us out at our Twitter/X page. Had to think about that for a second. Our Twitter/X page at Podpack Collect. But until next time, thank you all so much for joining the cafe. Hope you have an absolutely fantastic evening and a fantastic end of the week. Stay safe, stay awesome, and most importantly, stay hydrated.
Don't drink any ice cream floats.
Yeah, because that one's curdled. I mean, look at it. Look at it. Look at my paw.
The audio only listeners are gonna love this. This is great for them. This is great content. Stop pointing at me.
Oh, bye, guys.
Bye.